Welcome to Ask Us Anything, our new monthly video series where we aim to answer questions submitted by students, parents, and anyone else interested in what we do here at the studio. Let's get started.
Hi guys, Paul Glover here. Our first question today is from Mark Lancaster, and he asks, how about a video on amp settings? I still have no real clue on where to have the settings to achieve certain types of sounds. Actually, a question there, Mark. Let's clear that right up for y'all right now. Right, Mark, so what we'll do is we'll start with like a fat clean. So what we'd normally do is we would run our clean volume quite low. If we've got a master volume, that is, if you've only got one channel, then we're just going to leave that wherever our ears allow us to leave it. We're going to run the bass quite high, the mid at about halfway, and the treble a little bit lower, and that'll give us a really warm, full sounding clean tone. If we want that to sound a little bit fatter, we can use our guitar, and we can just put the front pickup of the guitar on. And that'll fatten the sound up even further than that. If we want to thin that tone out, all we need to do is drop the bass out a little bit, add a little bit more treble, and then we can get a little bit more of a funkier tone. If we then go to our front pickup again on the guitar, and that'd be your clean tones for those particular things. Yep, next one would be like a fat crunch. Now on this guitar amp, we've got a shared EQ with the clean and the crunch. So I'm going to put that bass back up to where we had it before. So again, this is more of a kind of a fat, kind of like an old school crunch kind of tone. I'll just need to, we'll have to maybe do that again. So should we cut there and go to crunch?
I just go and start with when you're looking for a crunch tone.
Yeah. Right, Mark, so now we're looking for a crunch tone. So what we've got on this amp is a shared EQ. So it's the clean and the crunch channel EQ. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the gain, which is our crunch kind of tone, or like that crunch distortion sound. I'm going to run that quite low. And what that'll do is that'll allow me to get a little bit of bite on my tone. If I take more gain out of that, I just need to bump the volume up a little bit. The more I take out, the more bite I'm going to get. But it's going to become a little bit cleaner. So that's the clean channel, the crunch channel, sorry. I can take the gain up on that, bring the volume down. If I take the bass out of that, add a bit more treble, it's just going to become a bit more cutty. Mid, normally kind of keep that kind of next to straight up, so obviously the easiest way of doing it. So that works a lot better for kind of low chuggy kind of stuff. Because you hear a lot of note definition in that tone. And then finally, let's go for like the big fat 80s hair metal lead sound. So what you'll see is now the gain is pretty much dimed. I've got a big fat load of bass. The mid is where it is, halfway up pretty much. Treble's a little bit higher than it used to be on the crunch channel because I wanted to cut through the mix a little bit. And let's see how that sounds. And I'd say that's about the best way to go. If you get your amp and you don't know what on earth you're doing, best way to go is straight up. So set your bass straight up, your mid straight up, your treble straight up, gain straight up, and a volume so you're not killing the neighbors. And then add to your own taste. So take the bass up. See how that affects your sound. Take the mid up. see where you want that. And then mess about with the treble until you like that. And then you've got the tone you want.
Our second question comes from Frank Leyland, and he asks, what is a good maximiser plugin for Cubase? I know it has one already, but is there anything better? PS, I also use Acoustica Mixcraft Pro 7, and even the new Cubase can't hold a candle to it. So thanks for your question, Frank. For anyone that doesn't know what a maximiser is, it basically enhances certain frequencies in an instrument or a mix. They can be known as under a number of names, from enhancer to exciter to maximizer, but they all have the same general purpose. Today we're going to be using Reaper, but you can use any DAW. It's all the same from Cubase, Logic, and any others that you might be using at home. So let's jump in and have a look. A great free maximizer plugin I like is by a company called Fine Cut Bodies, and it's called La Petite Excite. You can head to their website, we'll put a link on the video, and you can download it. It's for Windows XP and for Mac, and it'll work with any DAW. Once you've got that installed, it's great to try and put it on a few different tracks and listen to what effect it does have. So here we've got a simple drum and bass loop. Here's what it sounds like. Now the controls on the plugin itself, the main two controls you want to be looking at are the low control and the high control, and these add in compression and they adjust the EQ. So we're going to engage this and let's have a listen to what it does. You can hear it really beefing up the sound. Let's keep going. Now let's try the high control. Now let's compare it with the unaffected signal and with the effect again. You can really hear how it boosts and compresses the signal in the specific low frequency and high frequency bands. This can be great for fattening up tracks within your mix and using in your projects at home. Here at the studio, we also have the luxury of an original BBE Sonic Maximizer unit. Let's compare our original loop and then pass it through the BBE to see how it affects the sound. We'll start with the controls at minimum and slowly increase them, then compare them back with the unaffected signal. That's the controls at full, and let's compare it with the original. As you can hopefully hear, just like the plugin, the maximizer significantly beefs up the loop, making it a really useful tool for your mixes. Thanks again for your question, and hopefully this was useful to you.
Okay, so our third question this month comes from Ken, and he has asked, what is the minimum age for new students? Well, that's a great question, Ken. We get asked that all the time. We teach people from as young as 3 years old to people all the way into their 80s. We like to call them our big kids. But in terms of young children, this is the reason that we have our free intro lesson. So it's a great time for you to come down, try it out free of charge, and get a feel for whether the student is, one, comfortable with everything, and then gain some advice from the tutors whether they think the student is too young or just not ready for this kind of thing yet. It's the classic thing of you never know until you try it. Thanks for all your questions this month. If you want to submit a question for us to answer at the end of next month, we'll be putting a Facebook post out that will be pinned to the top of our Facebook page early next month. Drop your questions in the comment section and we'll answer them in the next video.